Hello, my beautiful ones. Yes, I know. It's been a long time since I've done anything, really, or spoken about anything. Let's just say I've been really busy, or distracted, or busy dealing with other things going on in life. I've done 3 moves in the past 2 years and haven't had internet access for at least a year until recently. On my 3rd move, I moved to a trailer in a small town, still in Illinois. But, it's better than running around everywhere dealing with everything. As you know, I always deal with real world issues because, well, it's just the truth of the matter. And right now, today's biggest issue that everybody hates to talk about, but it is the only thing being talked about, the coronavirus. Yes, the evil cold with pneumonia attached. I hope you all are staying safe and that you guys are careful. Because going out in this mess isn't always a good thing for you. And the more you go out, the more risks you take, not just for yourself, but to others. I go out in this weather only when it's necessary. I mean, it's not the weather really, it's the storm that we call the virus. The weather's been beautiful and accommodating until, of course, today when it got cold and rainy. But there's not much we can do about this matter. The safest thing we can do is stay inside, stay away from as many people as we possibly humanly can. I admit, there are still people who have to go to their jobs because their jobs are essential, which means they're important. They supply important things, such as the toilet paper, which everybody went mega apocalypse on and got a shit ton out of panic. It's like the moment this virus hit, everybody went into panic mode. And yes, this kind of virus is worthy of a panic. But those of you who panicked and took everything off the shelves, not just toilet paper, but other groceries and other essentials, you're being insensitive to other people. You're being selfish. There are people out there who need that stuff as much as you do, such as our elderly and those who cannot get out that much. You are inconsiderate and cold. I don't care if you have kids or if you have, a mega household. You can't go grabbing everything off the shelves just because you're afraid that your family won't have what it needs while other families suffer. There's a mess going on. And if you go into panic mode and you take everything that you're taking, what are other people going to do? Yes, I get it. You want to protect your family. Of course you do. Your children are extremely important. Your elderly are extremely important. But you forget there are other people who are just as important as your family. The millions of other families out there trying to survive this mess. Panic is not something we should be doing right now. Yes, we need to be cautious. We need to stay inside as much as possible. If we can't because of our jobs, that is understandable. Even the postmen are still working despite the threat. But if you're not doing an essential job and if you've been laid off or pulled out of work for several weeks, then take the precautions offered you. Stay home. Avoid contact. Wash your hands plenty. If you touch anything outside of your own house, make sure when you come back you wash your hands immediately. That's what I do when I've had to go to a store during this whole mess. The moment I come back, I wash my hands. This way I avoid any severe problems. And so far I've been lucky. But there are not so many who have been lucky. There are several lives have been lost to this virus. Babies, the elderly. It's a horrible thing. H1N1 was nasty. But now this coronavirus is even more dangerous. And yeah, there are theories as to where it came from. Some say, oh, it's because the Asian countries were eating raw meat or the meat of wild animals or cats or dogs. That's one theory. Another theory is this was a man-made virus that was experimented on. Well, that was an experiment in a lab, and one of their lab subjects, an animal, was released, or escaped, rather. Others think this theory is just this coronavirus is something that came about because most years with the number 20 in them, like 1820, 1920, that kind of thing, usually some kind of illness or nationwide illness pops up, such as the plague or other things. You know, there's at least, I don't know, I'm not even sure how many theories there are. All I know is there's several. And what I want to point out is you need to be more careful. You need to do what is necessary to avoid getting the illness yourself. You know, or giving the illness to other people. There are some of you who may not have the virus, but are carriers. So even if you don't get it, you can give it to someone else the moment you get in contact with it. The virus is both physical, airborne, and on surfaces, which makes things a lot more difficult. Which is why I say, wash your hands as much as you can. Avoid contact with other humans when necessary. If you are working during this chaos, the moment you come home, take a shower. Wash every part of you. This way, you avoid getting the virus and you avoid giving it to anyone in your household. This kind of weather storm is not the kind of storm you want during the springtime. You know, we're just barely not even out of winter yet, and already we're getting, a storm that I would not call a storm if I didn't believe it to be that way. The virus is a horrible thing. Corona is terrible. And yes, the government is trying to take measures to take care of it, and that's good. But you've got to take the measures yourself. You can't rely on everybody else to watch the measures for you. You've got to do it yourself. Protect yourself. Protect your family. Many of you that don't even have essential jobs are out and about moving around, believing this virus is not something, to be scared of, but it is. I mean, like we said, we've already lost thousands of lives to it. So if you want to be wise and do the right thing, if you are not working or you don't need groceries or other essential items, stay inside. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect other people. You have to show consideration for everybody. Humans by nature are selfish creatures. But it's times like these when we need to stop being selfish and try to help other people. And you can do that by avoiding contact, staying away, taking baths, washing your hands every time you go out in public and return. There are so many ways you can do this. I'm not saying it's easy because it is airborne. So even just breathing the same air as a person with the coronavirus is dangerous. The only way to avoid that is to stay inside. And if you can't, wear gloves. A mask, I can't promise you, is a good idea. Because masks can collect bacteria and viral infections. Either because you already are sick and it stays on the mask, or because the mask is made of material that basically all things get attached to. Wearing a mask is wise in some ways, but not always. Sometimes the mask can be just as dangerous because the moment someone else gets near you, there's no guarantee that it can stop every germ from getting in. Masks are not foolproof. So if you want to be wise and do the right thing, if you are not working or if you're not getting groceries, stay inside. Keep your kids inside. I understand they're going to drive you nuts because they're hyperactive and want to go play and go do things. But the more the kids are outside, the more they get exposed to the possibility of getting the virus. Yes, kids from not our generation, but our children, our next generation, have been said to be immune to this illness. Others have said that they can get the illness, but they'll get over it. I understand they're going to drive you crazy, and I understand kids don't get it, because they don't think logically like we do. After all, the logical part of their brain isn't fully developed till they're 25. But you've got to do the best you can. If they get restless and start whining and throwing fits because they want to be outside, you've just got to explain it to them in a way they understand. Or if you have to, if their tantrum gets too out of hand, discipline them and don't allow them to get away with it. I know kids want to be out and about. I know they get restless and they got all this hyperactive energy and they can't burn it out inside the house. Find ways to do it in the house. Play tag with them. Play dance videos. Something that requires physical activity. It'll help take out some of the restless energy they're experiencing. And do your best to try to be patient. This isn't their fault. It's not your fault. It's pretty much nobody's fault. The coronavirus kind of just appeared out of nowhere without any real reason. I mean, yeah, if it came from wild animals, then I highly suggest you never touch them again. At least not the normal ones. If this virus continues on into deer hunting season, they may cancel deer hunting season this upcoming fall. Deer are wild game. So are rabbits, squirrels, and other creatures. But they're not the cause of this either. There is no real proof positive exactly what has happened. Some believe it's because people are eating porcupines or bats or some other wild-ass creature that no one normally eats. We don't know. We want to know. Give us the facts. Come on. It would be interesting to find out not only if we can get rid of this virus, but if we can develop an antidote for it. Everybody knows the best way to create an antidote for any virus is to chemically engineer a live virus with some kind of other chemical that can make it into an antidote instead of a poison. I don't know anything about medical stuff. I only study a little bit of herbal medicine. I'm not a major. It's not my thing. Or at least it's not my major talent. I suggest that all scientists come up with ideas of how to fight the coronavirus. Yeah, in all the years that we've had the common cold still has no cure. Coronavirus may not have a cure either, or we can discover one. We don't know. I'm just saying, hold on tight, avoid being in public as much as possible. If you touch anything foreign, make sure to wash your hands. If you're working during this time, the moment you get home, hop in a shower, stay clean. The more precautions you take, the less chance the virus has to spread. The more consideration you have for others, the faster we can get a quarantine and start our lives again. But if you keep stepping out for no reason at all, simply because you don't want to believe this virus is truly evil, then it's just going to get worse for us. Our quarantine is going to get worse. Our children are going to stay at school longer. Those of us who got kicked out of our jobs because they are shutting down because of the virus are going to stay out of work longer. Make efforts. Do your best to try. Get us out of this quarantine as quickly as possible. And the only way to do that is to don't do anything that isn't major important. Don't step out in public for any reason except for what's important. Be careful of yourself. Be cautious and considerate of others. Now, I love you, my beautiful ones. And as always, I don't care who you are, where you've been, what your preference is. I do love you anyway. I don't condemn. I'm not prejudiced in any way. So to me, you're all special people. And I would like you to stay around. So take the precautions you need against this nasty virus. Listen to the government-issued rules. And if it's not essential, don't do it. Love you. Bye.